Welcome to today's lesson on storytelling. We all love to listen to stories, don't we? But have you ever thought why we have stories as part of a syllabus?
Stories help us in learning the language?
Yes, that's one of the reasons why we read stories. Another reason why we read stories as part of a syllabus is because stories teach us moral values and skills for life. Most of these stories have situations we can relate to in our own lives. Let me ask you, how do you feel when you have to attempt a task for the first time?
I feel scared.
Why do you think you feel this way?
I think I feel scared because I'm afraid of failing.
That's right. The fear of failure prevents us from taking the first step. However, we must remember that a journey of 1,000 steps begins with a single step, but many a time it is this single step that seems the most difficult. Scary thoughts like, I've never done it before. What if I fail? Play in our minds over and over as if in a loop and assumes the shape of a fearful monster. If you are brave enough to fight that monster and make the opening move, half the task seems accomplished. Tell me, Ruby, how do you feel when you're able to succeed in doing a task for the first time?
I feel wonderful.
I know you do. Always remember that success, which is won after battling with hurdles, is the sweetest kind of success. You acquire the power of each hurdle you cross, and ultimately you emerge stronger. These hurdles or difficulties might be external obstacles or our own internal battles, our dilemmas, prejudices, or conflicting thoughts. These prevent us from reaching our full potential. On the other hand, once we are able to overcome these problems and motivate ourselves to work towards a goal, the battle is won. Well, the story that I am going to narrate today is to do with these themes of fear, conflict, motivation, courage, and success. Listen carefully to the story and think about the themes as we go along with the narrative. The title of the story is His First Flight. This is a short story written by Liam O'Flaherty, who was an Irish author. He wrote during the first part of the 20th century and is regarded as one of the major figures of the Irish literary movement. The Informer is one of his best-known novels. Some of Flaherty's other works are The Assassin, Return of the Brute, and The House of Gold. He wrote both in Irish and English, and among his collection of short stories, The Sniper and His First Flight, the story that we will be listening to now, are regarded as some of his best. His First Flight is a story about a young seagull who was afraid to fly. You know that for a bird, the act of flying is a natural one. Once the parent birds understand that the young ones are strong enough, they are taught to fly and to find their own food. In this way, the young ones become independent and are ready with the necessary bird skills when it is time to leave the nest of their parents and built their own. Our story is set on the ledge of a mountain with a vast expanse of the green sea stretched below. The young seagull lived here with his parents and siblings. It was learning time for the young ones, and the parents were teaching them the art of flying. All the young seagulls took to flying very easily, except for this one young seagull. His little sister and his younger brothers had wings which were far shorter than his own. Nevertheless, flying seemed effortless for them. However, when the young seagull tried to flap his wings and take the plunge, he was gripped by a strange fear. The sight of the vast sea below made him really nervous. He felt that his wings would not be able to support him and that he would fall into the sea. You might think that a bird is born to fly, and so the seagull's fear was irrational. But fear is born out of such irrational thoughts, and then even the simplest of tasks take on gigantic proportions. Now, when the young seagull refused to fly, his parents decided to punish him by leaving him alone on the ledge. The seagull could not gather up courage to take the plunge, to take that first step. The sight of the vast sea below made him panic, and the young seagull became dejected, bent his head, and ran back to the hole where he slept at night. Can you tell me, Ruby, what were the feelings of the seagull?
The young seagull must have felt miserable, depressed, and isolated.
Yes, those must have been the emotions going through the mind of the seagull. Let us get on with the story. The seagull's family had left him alone, but they had not given up on him. All the members were now flying above the ledge of the young seagull. The other young ones were skimming over the waves, catching fish and devouring the catch, while the whole family cackled proudly. The young seagull was watching all this, but nothing could motivate him to flap his wings and soar towards the sky. The whole morning, the family had walked about in the opposite ledge, taunting the young seagull as a coward. Now tell me, do you think it is right to call someone a coward?
It is wrong?
Then why did the seagull's family taunt him as a coward? Didn't they love him?
I am sure they loved him, but perhaps they thought by calling him a coward, they would be able to encourage him to fly.
You are absolutely right, but this kind of persuasion did not work. All right, let's get along with the story. The day had progressed to noon. The seagull was very hungry now. He had not eaten since the previous evening, and thus he felt the heat all the more. The young seagull tried to draw the attention of his parents, who were on the opposite plateau, by pretending to fall asleep. His father took no notice of him, but his mother decided to play a trick on him to persuade him to fly. She was tearing pieces of fish with her beak while sharpening her beak on the rock. At the sight of food, his hunger increased tenfold, and he began to plead with his mother to bring over some food. At first, she paid no attention, and then suddenly she picked up a piece of fish and flew over to him. She knew that, being famished, her young one would focus on the food and forget his fear. This is exactly what happened. When the seagull saw his mother flying towards him with a piece of fish on her beak, he screamed joyfully and leaned out eagerly. The mother seagull was waiting for this precise moment, and when she was just opposite to him, she stopped in mid-air. The young seagull was puzzled, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, being absolutely mad with hunger, he dived at the fish. When he did that, he let out a loud scream as he fell outwards and downwards into space, and for a moment his heart stopped beating. But this lasted only for a moment. Very soon the wind was rushing through his feathers and he could feel his wings cutting through the air. He was flying and his fear had disappeared. Within a few minutes, he completely forgot that he had been afraid to fly and started diving, skimming, and soaring with his siblings. He was enjoying himself. What a joy it was for the entire family. Everyone was congratulating him. The young seagull had made his first flight. Now that you have listened to the story, think about what life lessons you can learn from this. Can you link the events in the story to situations in your own life?
I felt the sort of fear when I had to go up on the stage for the first time to recite a poem.
We all feel unnerved like this when we have to face different situations. For example, a sports person might feel anxious just before a match, or someone might have a panic attack just before an exam. In fact, such feelings are common whenever we have to attempt something for the first time. However, even though such feelings are common or ordinary, people who are able to surmount them become extraordinary. Again, we might have people like the young seagull's mother in our lives who are able to inspire us to take up the most difficult of assignments. Do you know someone like this, Ruby?
Yes, I think so.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Let us end today's lesson with this thought. If it scares you, it might be a good thing to try.